Good afternoon and welcome to the 4 o'clock news. I'm Rielle Creighton.
And I'm Nora Hart. First at 4, all eyes on Portland tonight as a federal judge goes toe-to-toe with President Trump, denying his order to deploy the National Guard to the ICE building. Here's a look at what happened over the weekend to get you up to speed. National Guard members from California and Texas will not be deployed to Portland to guard the ICE building, at least for now. Late last night, a federal judge granted a second temporary restraining order blocking National Guardsmen from any state from coming to Portland and expanded the first temporary restraining order. However, the order is temporary and will expire in 14 days. The Trump administration has already appealed. The Multnomah County District Attorney's Office is dropping charges against a conservative influencer who's at the center of a federal investigation. Portland police arrested Nick Sorter on Friday in front of the ICE building. The DA's office says that while Portland police had probable cause to arrest the 27-year-old, they do not believe that disorderly conduct can be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. Meanwhile, protesters and counter-protesters continue to gather in front of the ICE building. Last night, new video shows a clash between federal agents and protesters. Federal agents moved in to detain 2 people while other agents made space in front of the building. It's not clear what happened before this clip, and it's not clear what those 2 protesters are accused of doing. Earlier today, President Trump held a press conference in the Oval Office and talked about Portland and the Insurrection Act.
You look at what's happened with Portland over the years, it's a burning hellhole, and then you have a judge that lost her way, that tries to pretend that like there's no problem. Actually, she's not even saying that. There's a huge problem in Portland. I'll tell you what the problem is: crime. Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe.
All of this comes after a very active legal Sunday. And that legal fight continues in federal court on whether the National Guard will be deployed in Oregon.
Investigative reporter Adrian Thomas joins us live with the update now. Adrian, what's new?
Well, Nora, Rielle, in a rapidly evolving courtroom battle, the Trump administration has appealed the temporary restraining order issued by a federal judge, which halts troop deployment for now. The legal battle between Portland, the state of Oregon, and the Trump administration continues this week in the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals amid protests outside of the ICE facility on Portland's south waterfront. Both parties painting a very different picture of what's happening on the ground. The state of Oregon saying the situation is under control by local law enforcement and the federal authorities who are already present, whereas the U.S. Department of Justice says the situation is dire and the president's authority to deploy troops is warranted. In a filing late Sunday appealing the temporary halt of troop deployment, Trump administration lawyers said, quote, in issuing its injunction, the district court substituted its own judgment for that of the president. The district court built its entire decision around a single premise that the protests were small and uneventful when the president issued his federalization decision. There is ample record of evidence showing the violence was far from small or uneventful. This stance was echoed today by the White House press secretary when asked about the legal proceedings.
With all due respect to that judge, I think her opinion is untethered in reality and in the law. The president is using his authority as commander-in-chief, U.S. Code 12406, which clearly states that the president has the right to call up the National Guard in cases where he deems it's appropriate. And if you look at what has happened in Portland, Oregon, for more than 100 nights, I was talking to our law enforcement team about it this morning, for more than 100 days, night after night after night, the ICE facility has been really under siege.
Also in the filing, Trump administration lawyers pointed to a previous ruling this summer by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals that upheld President Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to Los Angeles in June. The appellate court's decision on the Oregon case could come down very soon, so we'll update you on air and online as soon as we know more. Live in studio, Adrian Thomas, Fox 12 Oregon.